The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, this is TV1 News. I'm Carol Kidu Jr.
And I'm Terry Longwood. Join me for sports later on in the bulletin.
In this edition, government urged to stop blame game, vaccine dilemma in North Bougainville, and hunters head into round 2 with confidence. In Enga Province, early grade students will receive improved quality lessons as their teachers have completed an intensive training course on using Bilum books, textbooks, and teaching guides. The training was conducted in Wabeg and offered teachers a valuable professional development opportunity that focused on using the Bilum books training guides to implement the Department of Education's standards-based curriculum. The Provincial Elementary Coordinator, Simon Kakeo, noted that the training will equip early grade teachers with the necessary teaching skills for phonics, reading comprehension, writing, listening, and speaking in English. Enga Provincial Education Advisor Was Roatina welcomed the collaboration between the partnerships for improving education program and the Provincial Department of Education in delivering the training. He also recognized Australia's role in providing targeted support for education in PNG. After today's Parliament sitting, the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance will be known as the Somare Institute of Leadership and Governance. This change in name comes after the PILAG Amendment Bill 2023 was passed in Parliament today.
Today, Parliament passed the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance Amendment Bill 2023. The bill will rectify legal oversights, challenges and gaps in specific provisions of the 2017 Act.
The first impediment area of concern was to do with the transitional provision of the Act that regulated the transition period from the Pacific Papua New Guinea Institute of Public Administration to the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance, which were all achieved and not applicable at present.
The other important legal and policy challenges to be addressed by this amendment is the status and appointment process of the PILAG Board Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson, which was not clearly defined in the Principal Act.
The amendment provides that the Chairperson of the Board shall be the department head responsible for public service for personnel management, whilst the Deputy Chairperson shall be a representative from either the National Training Council or NTC, or the Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, or DHEST.
This is to ensure that there is continuity and coordination of the government, public service training policies, and implementation and monitoring of the public service training program, which is one of the national government's care areas. Furthermore, the bill provides a significant amendment in the change of name in the institution from the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance to the Somare Institute of Leadership and Governance.
The executive government's intent and the wisdom of the Prime Minister and this government and the entire caucus to rename this premier government training institution to portray and give prominence in commemoration of the founding father and the first Prime Minister of this country.
MPs for Pomio Open Elias Kapavore and Kandep Open Don Polye commended the passing of this bill. Mary Silla Kelleton, TV1 News.
Governor for East Sepik Alan Bird has called on the government to stop the blame game and focus on rescuing the economy of the country. He said what had been done by the previous government has gone and the current regime must take ownership of the issues affecting the country.
Governor for East Sepik Alan Bird brought up the subject of rising unemployment rate in Parliament today, strongly urging the government to address the issue. Governor Bird said playing the blame game will not fix the problem.
As we wait for interventions to happen, and this is where I personally don't want to continue to blame the former PNC government. I think that's an old story and we shouldn't continue to do that. Whatever has happened back then, something before. We should really be taking ownership of the issues now. On the issue of jobs, again, important for the economy, we just don't have the jobs, and we know that.
Governor Bird also defended the role of the treasurer, saying he should not be blamed for everything relating to funding.
We've got all these really nice programs. Every district is humming. You've got district programs happening. You've got road programs happening. You've got all these things happening. But we don't know how it's feeding into the economy. We have no idea because our statistics is not working. So all the time we are making guesses and we're throwing mud at each other, but the underlying problem still remains. We have more than 70,000 young people finishing school every year. Are we creating 70,000 jobs every year? We know the simple answer is no. If you look at the presentation by the treasurer, out of the 24 billion kina budget, only 900 million is being targeted at the economy.
Meantime, Irikwayari MP Kit Iduhu supported the governor's call for collaboration in addressing unemployment and related matters.
In the PNC-led regime, everybody wanted to throw stones. Some of us are all in this house today. Again, in this regime, the same very people are so quick to throw stones at the current regime and its affairs and how we're running this country. See, our good treasurer is only one man. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, is also one man. And in his time, as the Prime Minister of this country, the member for Yelwu Pangia, Honorable Peter O'Neill, was also one man. We seem to be very, very quick to judge, but not very quick to offer solutions.
Freddie Moe, TV1 News.
Prime Minister James Marape has assured the Parliament that a detailed report will be presented to the House after the investigation into the alleged financial transactions involving former senior managers of PNG Ports and an Australian businessman, as reported by the foreign media. The PM is concerned that such damning reports tarnish the image of a performing state-owned entity.
Prime Minister James Marape told Parliament today that he does not encourage corruption in his administration and assured the Parliament that a full detailed report on the alleged financial transactions involving former senior managers of PNG Ports will be tabled in Parliament soon. He said such reports have tarnished the good name of one of the most performing state-owned enterprises, PNG Ports. Opposition leader Joseph Lelang raised this issue on the floor of Parliament today.
We are facing another negative backlash on our country's image, and it is very disturbing when it is an Australian citizen who is the ringleader and mastermind in this allegedly corrupting the Australian taxpayers' own money. It is also disturbing that this gentleman had even boasted, alleging that he has close ties to our Prime Minister and plays golf with him, including assisting with medical bills of a family member in Philippines. Mr. Acting Speaker, these are serious allegations, and it is important that these questions are asked so that the Prime Minister can clear the air on this matter.
Medicine plays 1 or 2 rounds of golf with me, the person that is named, but outside of playing golf, this report has cast a negative implication on PNG Ports. I've tasked Minister for State and Enterprise to review what has happened. He's given his preliminary observations on the transactions, but a fullest review will be undertaken, and that will be reported back to the Parliament.
The Prime Minister admitted he had been in the company of the Australian businessman in question during a golf match, but nothing relating to the issue transpired during this engagement. He added that a full investigation will be done on the claims raised and a full report will be made available to Parliament soon.
Did with the person named is not, I'm not privy to that full information. But to be fair on PNG ports and the current management and the board, we've asked for a total look into this transaction. PNG port, in one of my statements I've released, is one of our success stories in our Kumul group of companies, in as far as our Kumul consolidated companies are concerned. We are very much concerned that this report has cast a black spot into the PNG ports.
Meantime, Parliament has been adjourned to next Tuesday, March 21st at 10 a.m. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
New Islands Police Commander Superintendent Albert Belly is worried about an increase in migration to the province, leading to more crime and law and order problems. He plans to work with community leaders to keep track of migrants and send back those who pose a threat. Belly praises community participation in policing and urges police officers to work professionally to maintain law and order. TV1 News continues after the break. Stay with us.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
It's that time again! Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scale School money for 2023. Over 220 winners. 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scale School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
the Brain Changer.
Open Net.
Very superstitious. Writings on the wall. When you believe in things, but you don't understand that you're superstition ain't the way.
Axion, the grease stripper, is more powerful than ever before. It is now 100% effective in grease removal. Every concentrated dab is packed with grease and oil stripping power. A breakthrough dishwashing solution. Axion has 100% effective grease stripping power. No oiliness, no bad odor, no struggle. This is the best grease stripping.
advantage, who puts on the jets. Cameron for two in the opening turn, and Hipwood set it up. Cameron, he's pumped. And Robbie Gray fitted late directly in front, not paid the mark. The umpire hasn't read the script, had to give it up. Still a chance for Marshall, their leading goal kicker this year, and he makes no mistake.
Welcome back. The Simbu Children's Foundation has received a much-needed financial backing of 25,000 kina to support its medical research and health interventions. On Wednesday, 15th March, Kumul Petroleum Holdings Executive General Manager, Corporate Affairs Luke Liria presented the check to Jimmy Drekore of the Simbu Children's Foundation. The Simbu Children's Foundation, established in 2006 by Drekore, has successfully implemented projects such as Brave Hearts, the Mother of Life Center, and the prevention of HIV transmission to children. The organization is best known for its pioneering work in identifying resistant osteomyelitis, a condition in which bacterial infection deteriorates bone. The foundation has been supporting osteomyelitis research since 2012, based at the Sir Joe Nomri Memorial Hospital in Kundiwa, led by Dr. Izad Igua and genetics and medical researcher James Francis, in collaboration with the Institute of Medical Research in Goroka and James Cook University. Mr. Drekore emphasized the importance of adhering to international ISO standards for PNG research activities. The organization has published 4 articles on their work in international journals, garnering widespread recognition. COVID-19 is a disease that many Papua New Guineans are only just learning more of since the first outbreak in 2020. And like many other provinces, the autonomous region of Bougainville has had its share of challenges which to date are still quite evident throughout its 3 districts.
In North Bougainville District, it was found that the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines has left some health facilities with the dilemma of compromising their routine immunization services due to the fear and high vaccine hesitancy found within the area among majority of their population. The Ministerial Vaccine Task Force team, in the advisory and surveillance visit to Kekesu Sub-Health Center in Tinputs last week, discovered that mothers were not bringing young children to the health center for immunization based on the fear that their children would be vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine instead. This fear poses a risk to children's health. Therefore, the health center at Kekesu decided it was best not to advocate that COVID-19 vaccines were available at the health center, so that patients would still seek medical help at the clinic, and most importantly, that young children be brought in by their parents for routine immunization vaccines.
Time pag-apply, ito sabi lang load by affecting or program. So I said, immunization. Kasi nagutol baby by nung napkan sa pasugi sa vaccine, igat vaccine lo kekes. That's what Emi bin Kamabro fasted.
The autonomous region of Bougainville is a priority area of focus for the Ministerial Vaccine Task Force, and therefore needs a collaborative effort from all partners involved to better its vaccination statistics. Work is underway between the Ministerial Vaccine Task Force and the ABG Department of Health to ensure that more community engagement and health promotional activities are carried out to support both the ABG DOH and the people of Bougainville to normalize the uptake of COVID-19 vaccine at all its health facilities that provide COVID-19 vaccination. The task force maintains that the uptake of COVID-19 vaccination is the best way to ensure the protection of one's health and that of their families. Mary Silla Calaton, TVWAN News.
The new Minister for Health in the autonomous Bougainville government has pledged to do his best to ensure that effective health service delivery reaches the people throughout Bougainville. Minister Dennis Lokonai, in his recent maiden address to the staff and management of the health sector, said there are many challenges that continue to hinder the department from moving forward, and some of these issues including funding constraints in which only less than 1% of the ABG budget is allocated to the health sector annually. Deteriorating health facilities throughout the region, aging workforce and retrenchment and drug shortage. Minister Lokonai said he will work proactively with the Secretary of Health and the department to remedy these challenges, for example, having sufficient funding for health. The aging workforce can be retrenched, closed aid posts and can be reopened, and the health workforce can be put on pay. National Fisheries Authority Managing Director Justin Ilakini recently spoke at the 42nd PNA Annual Officials Meeting in Honiara, Solomon Islands. There, Ilakini urged the PNA sub-regional group of 8+1 nations, including Papua New Guinea, to think creatively in advancing PNA fisheries interests. Pacific Island nations have long relied on their rich fisheries for food security and economic growth. However, the impact of climate change and overfishing threatens the sustainability of these resources. Parties to the Nauru Agreement, PNA, sub-regional group of 8 nations, and Tokelau have been working together to ensure the long-term viability of the tuna fisheries in the Western and Central Pacific region. Recently, Justin Ilakini, Managing Director of the National Fisheries Authority, addressed the 42nd PNA Annual Officials Meeting in Honiara, Solomon Islands, urging the PNA to think creatively in advancing their fisheries interests and highlighting the need to consider the effects of climate change on the tuna fisheries of the PNA and the region. Ilakini emphasized the importance of considering the unknown effects of climate change on the tuna fisheries of the PNA and the Western and Central Pacific region. He recommended that the group identify and establish mitigation measures to improve the resilience of the parties in light of the uncertain effects of climate change. Ilakini also echoed the words of the Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources, Jelta Wong, in urging Pacific ministers to oppose Japan's plans to dump nuclear wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. He noted that developed countries continue to undermine conservation efforts by placing a disproportionate burden on small island developing states. Ilakini applauded the PNAO for successfully opening its office in Majuro in February and encouraged the PNAO to continue to modernize fishery management tools and pursue VDS capitalization from the value of the group's resources. He suggested using smart marketing and product traceability with eco-labeling and market access into premium niche markets. This includes the MSC certification scheme to promote sustainable and responsible fishing practices. PNG is ready to support such initiatives, and Ilakini stressed the importance of regional economic integration among the parties to maximize value from the resource consistent with the leader's vision. Ilakini concluded by urging officials to guide ministers into reporting back to Pacific Island leaders on the fisheries issues of common regional interest. In working closely to support the people who live in the regions it operates, Santos will transfer its Community Development Initiative Foundation facility in Kikori to the Gulf Provincial Government. This follows the handover of another CDI facility in Moro, Southern Highlands, by the company to the Mineral Resources Development Company. Santos signed an MOA with the Gulf Provincial Government and CDI Foundation Trustee Company Limited to enable the transfer of the facility, which will continue to implement health and education programs in the province. CDI Chair Gary Aopi stressed the key factors necessary for proper operations of the facilities include good governance, transparency and leadership, accountability from all stakeholders. Discussions are also underway for the transfer of the CDI Foundation facility in Port Moresby to the Gulf Provincial Government, conditional on trust arrangements to be agreed between the concerned parties before end of March 2023. And back home, Brisbane Broncos NRL women's team, led by coach Scott Prince and players Julia Robinson and Shanae Chesioka, launched the 2023 BSB Financial Literacy Training Program in Port Moresby, PNG. The Brisbane Broncos are supporting the BSB's Financial Literacy Training Program as part of the Brisbane Broncos Community Engagement Drive. The Brisbane Broncos NRL women's team representatives, led by Broncos NRLW head coach Scott Prince, along with wingers Julia Robinson and Shanae Chesioka, are in PNG to launch the 2023 BSB Financial Literacy Training Program in Port Moresby. The Broncos are representing BSB as community partner, and the visit is part of the Community Engagement Drive. This partnership is focused on three key areas of BSB's operations: education through financial literacy, SME, and leadership. The launch of BSB FLT took place on Thursday, 16th March 2023 at the Boroko Primary School, where BSB Wagani Banking Centre branch manager Alex Kuna and his team joined the Broncos representatives to kick off the program. More than 100 grade 4 students participated in the launch, and BSB will continue to conduct financial literacy training for grade 4 and 10 students in selected schools throughout the year. Staff at the Wagani head office also had the chance to meet with the Broncos team. You're watching TV1 News. Stay tuned for more when we return.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him all together.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Whatever you need for your building and home improvements, we got you covered. Hardware House. We supply high-quality professional tools, plumbing and electrical supplies, homeware and outdoor products, paints, building materials, and much more, all at affordable prices. And with our experienced staff, we will provide you with the right advice and help you need. So for all your building and home improvement needs, Bayuki Simware, Hardware House. Quality at affordable prices.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one-time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
The rock star, Jadeja. Oh, bowling through the gate again. It's a similar story for Aaron Finch. Brilliant bowling from Kumar.
Gets it, Sean Marsh, that's way back. Beautiful shot from Sean Marsh. He's gone offside, take him off! That would have been unbelievable from Rohit Sharma.
Super Rugby Pacific.
Pride of the Pacific Islands on display.
Welcome back. After tropical cyclones Judy and Kevin had run destruction over Vanuatu recently, about 3/4 of the population who rely on agriculture have been affected. As the largest implementing agency supporting government on food security and livelihoods, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has mobilized its capacities to support Vanuatu's recovery. FAO is working closely with the government of Vanuatu to identify immediate agricultural inputs, which include, but are not limited to, seeds and planting materials, gardening tools, water tanks, and irrigation kits. Fish aggregating devices will also be needed to support recovery efforts in the fisheries sector. Federal politicians are continuing to fight over how best to reduce the carbon emissions of big polluters, but farmers around Australia are concerned any action could have unintended consequences for them.
Working hard to lower her farm's carbon footprint.
Our major source of emissions is methane nitrous oxide from our cattle. Given we are 100% beef breeding business, that wasn't surprising to us really.
She doesn't want to reduce emissions to sell as carbon credits to other industries.
I think it's just like moving the pieces around on the game board.
The federal government's plan to reduce emissions, called the Safeguard Mechanism, would allow the heaviest polluters to purchase an unlimited amount of carbon credits from activities like tree planting. Farmers are concerned it could spark farmland buy-ups from big corporations, driving up land prices and competing with food production, and could also interfere with their ability to reduce their own emissions.
There is a big place for offsets and carbon farming and buying carbon credits, but it shouldn't come instead of decreasing real emissions.
I don't really think it's an either-or proposition that, we have to either just cut emissions at their source or have offsets. I think it's going to take a combination of both.
Farmers for Climate Action is calling for more support from the federal government after surveying 600 farmers across the country.
93% of respondent farmers expressed a willingness to change farming practices and to decrease emissions.
With many saying they simply didn't know how to access information and new technologies.
There is a genuine desire, I think, for farmers to reduce their emissions.
Creating a future for farming.
The South Australian Premier has met with UK government officials during a visit to the English port town of Barrow-in-Furness, the UK's largest shipyard. Australia is gearing up to build its own nuclear-powered submarines in Adelaide in the coming decades.
Town Barrow-in-Furness built Britain's first submarine in the 1800s and has been constructing nuclear-powered subs for the last 60 years. South Australia's Premier visited the historic shipyard on a fact-finding mission and met some of the apprentices that will start work on the first AUKUS-class submarine before the end of the decade. But even on the other side of the world, he couldn't escape a domestic battle between states over where the nuclear waste from future AUKUS submarines will be stored.
What should inform the judgment about where the nuclear waste goes isn't some domestic political tit-for-tat or some state-based parochialism. It should be about what is in the nation's interests. We are building submarines in South Australia because we are the best place in the nation to do this. What should inform where the nuclear waste goes is where it is in the nation's interest to put it.
Australia has a massive task ahead of it as it attempts to replicate Britain's shipbuilding capabilities in Adelaide. A $2 billion expansion of the Osborne shipyard over the next 4 years will include a brand new training facility modelled off this apprenticeship program in Barrow, which trains more than 1,000 new workers at any one time. 19-year-old Max says it's a competitive program which guarantees future work now that the AUKUS submarine deal has been sealed.
It's a massive project that you'll spend multiple years of your life working on, and then to see it go out of the docks, never to be seen again unfortunately, but to see it roll out and know I built that, I put my hard work into it, it's quite a proud thing to be.
Others are hopeful the AUKUS partnership will open up opportunities to work in Australia as well.
Other than the spiders and snakes and that, I'd love to go. Yeah, I think it would be brilliant to go there. Nice and sunny, unlike here. But yeah, I'd enjoy it. I'd definitely easily be persuaded to go.
While the Adelaide facility is being built, Australian workers will be embedded here in Barrow-in-Furness by the end of the year to learn the specialised skills that they'll need to build nuclear-powered subs at home.
Fiji's coalition government has revoked the no jab, no job regulation, which was implemented by the former government during the COVID-19 pandemic. The regulation is effective from the date of gazettal. Fiji Attorney General Siromi Turaga said on 14 February 2023, Cabinet endorsed that the Health and Safety at Work General Workplace Conditions Amendment Regulations 2021 in relation to the no jab, no job regulations be revoked. Attorney General Turaga said such revocation will be effective from the date the same is published in the Gazette. He said this will mean those who lost their jobs when the policy came in can apply for jobs again. He added they are not looking at compensation for the workers as necessary action had to be taken during the pandemic. After switching diplomatic ties from Taiwan to China in 2020, Solomon Islands became a geopolitical flashpoint in the Pacific. Part of the deal saw China pay for and build the country's new national stadium for November's Pacific Games. The stadium's become a major talking point in Honiara. Many locals support it, but others question why the money wasn't used for areas such as healthcare and infrastructure.
In the middle of what is now one of the city's most iconic structure. It's the new stadium, built specifically for the Pacific Games in November. Solomon Islands and China established diplomatic ties 3 years ago, and part of these relations is this iconic structure. China's building the aquatic center, the tennis court, and catering area, among other facilities that have been donated freely by development partners such as Australia, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. Around 400 local Solomon Islanders have been working with around 200 Chinese nationals to build this stadium. While it provided close to 10 million Australian dollars per year for local workers, it isn't without its controversy. Some Solomon Islanders are concerned about what will happen after the Games. Others say the focus should be on the health sector and other key infrastructure developments. Either way, the stadium is here to stay.
And that ends the news segment. Here is the weather report for the next 24 hours. And that ends the news segment. On the other side, Terry Longboat brings us the news on Host Plus Cup Round 2, and the Hunters take on the Magpies and Wigman named squad for 2023 season.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Flanagan, they're going to run it. Kiraz will have a dive for the corner and gets there easily.
advantage on that. The Indians certainly think so. Shami's up late.
That's worth a shout. That's close. Yeah, that's close.
He's getting frustrated. He takes it out on the white ball.
It's lights out and away we go. Hamilton goes into turn one behind Max Verstappen. It's lights out and away we go. Hamilton goes into turn one behind Max Verstappen.
Well, folks, after literally years of negotiation between the fan and the management of Steve Menzies, we have secured the great man for the show. Welcome to the Fan.
This is all going through my head, and then all of a sudden he passes it back. Oh, my God.
Today we have enlisted the help of Panthers co-captain and superstar halfback.
When you've kicked it well, you usually know, and especially on the chip kicks, I usually know.
Thanks to Nathan Cleary, invaluable insight for the fans out there, for the kids out there.
And welcome back, viewers. In sports, 2022 DDSL Cup premiers Croton Hella Wigman Rugby League Club has named a 42-playing squad for season 2023. The squad will be further trimmed to 35 before season kicks off in April. In a media release this week, Wigman board chairman Andy Hetra revealed that after the departure of 5 members from last year's grand final winning team, they have retained 25 regulars and promoted 10 development players to boost their playing stock this year. In readiness for a long season ahead and players prone to injuries, disciplinary issues or inconsistency with form, reigning 2022 premiers Croton Hella Wigman have always had a strong player base with good development pathway that continues to identify and nurture new talent. Wigman board chairman Andy Hetra spoke passionately about the systems and pathways that they can offer to development players, which is important to beef up and keeps the playing squad in check.
From our experience, having been a consistent finals, grand finalist, semi-finalist, grand final runner-up, it has been very helpful for us to have development players through the ranks, and that have kept the check and balance in the team.
Hetra said the club has lost 5 of 17 players from last year's grand final team to Hunters and Keppers. They have 12 players still committed to the club, including development players from last year, pushing for the final 25 this year. The franchise also selected 4 players from the recently concluded Hella Invitational Nines directly from Tari. Wigman CEO Patrick Tallow was proud to say that the Hella franchise has a balance of players from all over the country.
So that's a unique thing about the club itself. They've got Central, West from Central Province, Oro, Gulf, Western, Eastern Britain, Western Britain, throughout the Highlands. So when you look at the club itself, it's truly a Papua New Guinean club. So we are proud to hold that record for having a real Papua New Guinean team.
With the departure of Junior Igila and Siki Content to the Hunters, Valentine Callaghan and Samuel Yagib joining Keppers, They are grateful for the service of former Kimber Carter's Anthony Warrott this year. He is a quality middle forward that had a session with the Hunters last year. Wigman prodigal son Gilmore Paul has returned after a year with the Hunters. From the 42, 18 players will travel to Fiji to play against Fiji champions Western State Maroons next weekend. The team will be captained by General Solomon Pokare.
We have been preparing well. We have been preparing for the past 10 to 11 weeks. I'm looking forward for this Fiji game in the coming up season. So like for me, it's like for the boys, we have so many leaders in the team also, which they help me keep this team moving forward. So.
The PNG Hunters continue their hunt this Saturday when they face the might of South Logan Magpies in round 2 of the 2023 House Plus Cup season at Logan Metro Football Field, Brisbane at 6:30 p.m. The win against winners Western Dales, Clydesdales was good for their confidence going into round 2. Losing win over new team Western Clydesdales in the season opener last week, PNG Hunters head coach Stanley Tappen was quite pleased with the team's resolve in defence and some smart positional play from Morea Jr. at fullback that saw the PNG side repel Clydesdales' attack. Tappen said it was their first game with a number of debutants, but a good start to help settle the nerves. Hunters 20 defeated Western Clydesdales 10. After the Clydesdales win, the Hunters remained in Brisbane this week to train and prepare for the round 2 clash against South Logan Magpies this Saturday night. Hunters assistant coach Paul Ayton admitted that last week wasn't the cleanest of wins, but he was happy they walked away with the 2 points, which is good for their confidence heading into the next game. The Hunters lineup has been boosted with the return of big centre Roderick Tai after a 1-game suspension. Magpies have a good track record playing at home, and with majority of the Hunters team having their first travel overseas, let alone first time at Q Cup level, the match could be anything but an even contest. After this week's announcement of ExxonMobil's latest core sponsorship commitment to the country's flagship competition, the PNG National Rugby League, for the now renamed Digicel ExxonMobil Cup, the company looks forward to partnering Digicel and PNG NRLC to expanding training facilities on not only focusing on the elite level, but also the grassroots and the youths. Mobile Chairman and Managing Director Peter Lardon said the company is synonymous with supporting the Kumuls and the Orchids and is very pleased to replicate that to other programs as well. He added that ExxonMobil, being a high-performance organization, would want to support a high-performance team in PNG for the long term.
We're looking forward to expanding training facilities and certainly grassroots programs, focusing of course on the Premier League, but then all the way down to the youth, because we know that the benefit that a sport like rugby brings in Papua New Guinea, as I mentioned. And Colin mentioned our shared values, and I'll add one more. There's discipline, there's teamwork, there's respect, there's integrity, there's excellence. We're a high-performing team at ExxonMobil, and we want to support high-performing teams globally, in Papua New Guinea as well. We're here for the long term, and so we're really pleased to be able to partner with a competition that is as well recognised and as impactful as the PNG RFL, and I can see it being a great opportunity for us moving forward as well.
Digicel CEO Colin Stone, while reflecting on the company's commitment to PNG NRLC over the past 12 years, plus the development and growth of the game in terms of setting standards, pathways and opportunities for young boys and girls, having ExxonMobil on board again enhances the strong partnership between the two organizations that they've had for years, but more recently co-sponsors of the Kumuls and the Orchids for the Rugby League World Cup 2022.
I think one thing that's important is when you look at co-sponsorship, you need sponsors that have the same drive and the same focus. And Peter mentioned earlier the focus on health, education, sport as pathways for people within Papua New Guinea. And it's something that we've been doing through our Digicel Foundation and Exxon have been doing for many years within Papua New Guinea. And both of us are nationally recognised brands that operate for the good of Papua New Guinea. And a sport is one way, to help grow a nation and focus some resources. So I think because we both have, both companies have very similar values, have a very similar focus of growing Papua New Guinea, I think it's a brilliant partnership. And with the help, obviously, as sponsors, we give our input, our drive, our determination, but I have to take my hand off to the PNG RFL for their commitment to growing the game.
Mr. Stone said it's important to have sponsors that have the same drive and focus as in sport, health and education as well, something that Digicel and ExxonMobil have been doing for years. And to regional news, Lambert Medlock from Vanuatu has been re-elected for another 4-year term as president of Oceania Football Federation. The OFC Extraordinary Congress held at Kigali in Rwanda had elected Medlock unopposed.
Lambert Maltok came to power in 2019 when elected on a permanent basis to clean up football issues in the Oceania region and seeking to develop a professional league across the region with the help of FIFA funding. In his re-election yesterday, Maltok is proud of being re-elected for another 4-year term and finish off what he had started to bring Oceania football to another level.
Was very humble to have the support of 100% support from the OFC football families. The Lebanese, they support me to run for another person. I'm really thankful for their trust and confidence on me. And I'm sure, as I said, I would like to lead with example and to try my best to bring OFC to another heights.
While there have been some impressive results during his first term, Maltok is excited by OFC's ambitious goals for the next 4 years. He is ready to lead and drive priorities that are aligned with the OFC strategy 2023 to 2026 to stay on track and to meet the Confederation's wide goal of qualifying 2 teams for the FIFA World Cup 2026 and 2027.
Now we have to go back to the field of play, and we want to concentrate on developing this field of play program. That means, we have to concentrate to upgrade the level of, first the level of professionalism in administration, to build the capacity, and also our program has to tailor-made to meet the target 2026. And I think, like I said, professionalism in all respect will be our main goal to drive the OFC for the next 4 years. In administration, in development program, in the field of play, the training, the academy, everything has to be professionalized. And this is why we want to go. And then the second one is we want the professional league by 2024.
Susan Oriape, TV1 Sports.
The final countdown is on to the start of the 2023 AFL season, with Richmond and Carlton preparing for a blockbuster season opener at the MSG tonight.
Footy fever is setting in, Guernseys are being dusted off and old rivalries are flaring because the AFL is back. It's less than 12 hours until tens of thousands of die-hard footy fans will flood into the MCG as the season gets underway. The stadium has a capacity of just over 100,000 people and it's tipped to be a near sell-out crowd as the Richmond Tigers face off against the Carlton Blues. Now that's the first of about 8 matches to be played across the course of the weekend. 6 of those will be held here in Melbourne and Lord Mayor Sally Capp says those will breathe life into the city.
The entire city is holding its breath this morning because we know the roar of the crowd here for Richmond Carlton to kick off the 2023 year will be absolutely spectacular. And 6 games over the weekend for Melbourne, 400,000 people coming into the city. It's great news for our traders as well.
After tonight's showdown, footy diehards will no doubt be tuning into tomorrow night's match. Last year's premiership winners, Geelong, are due to take to the MCG, where they'll face off against Collingwood.
And that wraps up our sports segment for tonight. Back to you, Carol.
Thank you, Terry. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Bye.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
TVWAN News, I'm Kawakiri Junior.